I like to freeze my rhubarb because I like to combine it with multiple other things, whether that be the strawberries, which won't set for another month, or the apples, which take another 6 months before they're ready. It makes it so that my rhubarb is all preserved and ready to be combined with any of my recipes that I want to do. I already picked my rhubarb out of the garden, and I cut off the ends that had a little bit of dirt on it and the tops where the leaves were. And then I brought it in, I washed them off, and then dried off any of the excess water that was on the outside. My next step is to label my bag because it's always easier to do that when it's empty. And I usually just put the month and date, but you can do it however you like. Then I set that off to the side. Because I prefer my rhubarb slices to be just a little bit smaller, I cut them in half the long way. This makes it so if there's any conserves that I'm adding it to, that it's perfectly cut already for it. And then I line up all of my ends of rhubarb, and I begin cutting it anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. I really love doing the freezing ahead of time because it makes it so that I have so much less work to do later when I'm making my conserves or whatever it is that I'm using the rhubarb in. And it's really not that much work to do on its own. I then place my cut rhubarb into a baking sheet. I like to use a silicone mat in it because it makes it so that it comes off a little bit easier later. I don't have very many rhubarb that I'm doing today, but I just kind of spread them out so they don't touch. The big thing is I want them to be separate so that if I need 1 cup of rhubarb, I can measure 1 cup of rhubarb instead of getting 1 gallon chunk ice cube of rhubarb. I'll place this in the freezer for anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. Now that this is frozen, I break them apart, make sure that they're all loose, and I can put them right into my bag. And it's so great because then later on, if I need to measure out a cup of it, then I can measure it, no problem. And this isn't gonna fill my bag, but over the next couple days, I'll be freezing more of it. One of the things I like about the silicone mat is I can actually pick it up and use it to funnel in my pieces. Then I try to get out as much of the air as I can because the air is actually what leads to the freezer burn. And I seal it up. And then I'll place this in my freezer where it will be good for anywhere from the next 6 to 12 months.